Hi
Welcome
everyone.
to
My name's Eric.
this is a
Already,
perfect
already.
this is a perfect way for us to start.
It's gonna be all outtakes all the way. You go first. You go first.
Welcome to Seed of Dragons. This is Dust,
No,
and
start over. I was goofing around. I was goofing around. Start over. Start over.
we're not starting over. This is it. This is it. This is what
Oh,
we're
it's
doing right
it.
now.
All right. Not slickly produced. That's what I was just saying. So, all right.
Welcome to Seed of Dragons. I'm Dust, and this is
My name's Eric Ortlund. Live in London, England, and I am joined by my good friend Dust, who's on the west coast of the U.S. Seed of Dragons is a writers collective. We started it feels like 8,000 years ago, and we're both working hard. It takes time to get things going. We're going to talk about what Seed of Dragons is about and whether you might be interested in it. But first, our podcast name, Coffee and Scotch.
Coffee and
Dust, do you
Scotch.
have any coffee with you?
I have coffee.
Coffee?
Eric, do you have any
Now,
Scotch? You don't, do you? This is the sad thing. So, Eric, you live over in London and I live on the West Coast of the United States. So it's morning for me. So I've got the coffee.
and it's is it still warm? I hope so. It's
It's
late
still
afternoon for me. The sun is just setting. So we were kicking around names for the podcast. We said coffee and scotch would be good. But guess who doesn't have any scotch right now? Me. So the podcast is just ruined, I guess.
I even brought scotch for you. Sadly, you're too far away. So I'm gonna have to drink it myself. I'm gonna be putting coffee in my scotch or scotch in my coffee, one or the other.
If we talk long enough, you'll need a scotch anyway.
No kidding. So we're glad you're here. This is Seed of Dragons, and we just want to share a little bit about what it's all about.
The tagline we settled on was Mythic Tales of Darkness and Courage from the Dragon's Lair. We should say that Seed of Dragons is taken from a lovely poem by J.R. Tolkien. It was actually written to C.S. Lewis. You can read selections from that on our website,
Yeah.
seedofdragons.com, if you want to go there. But Dust, Mythic Tales of Darkness and Courage from the Dragon's Lair. We talked about this for a long time. Tell me part of why you agreed on that. Why does that appeal to you? And how does that represent what we're trying to do?
So for me, it's the power of stories and just the human need to gather in here and share them. So the Dragon's Lair is a picture for me of just the dark parts of life that we sometimes don't share with one another. And stories are a way of helping us talk about the things that sometimes we don't want to talk about or that we want to, but we don't have a really good way to do it. So that's the Dragon's Lair for me. And it's been fun figuring out how we want to sort of a pathway for you and I to talk about these things and to share the things we like to write, but also the other people that we love to read.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. I have many, many, many thoughts on this. It'll take you the
Oh
whole
yeah, we
bottle
know
of
this.
scotch for me to stop talking.
Uh,
But very quickly, as we were talking about this in the early stages, the metaphor of a campfire, both of us really latched onto it. Think of the website of this podcast as kind of virtual campfire, and we're inviting people
that's right.
to see if this is the campfire for you. There are a lot of campfires out there. It might not be the best one for you, and that's totally
Yeah,
okay. But it is very dark, but you are among friends.
exactly.
Um, I like our tagline because I like the order, darkness and courage. I think that order is significant.
Mm,
I'm not a pessimist or a nihilist or cynic. I really believe in redemption and unconditional love. I really believe in happy endings.
yeah.
So got more than my fair share. But so much of life is in darkness. So much of life involves loss. Dusty, in The Wizard Knight, there's one point early on where a knight comes to challenge him without telling him. He's in an inn. He's coming downstairs. The knight just swings at him, and he accidentally gets his sword stuck in the lintel. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I've read it a few
Okay.
times.
This is The Wizard Knight by Gene Wolfe. Gene
Yes.
Wolfe, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
You
I
should
got
be
his
turning
picture up
around.
there
You should be
behind
turning
me.
around and bowing to him that way because he's looking right over your shoulder.
I got my shrine. I burn incense to him. What I love about that is that the character there says, if it hadn't been for that dumb mistake, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Like, I love watching Star Wars when they're swinging around lightsabers and it's all
Yeah.
perfectly coordinated. But I just love it that he just kind of messed up and it's lucky he's still alive. So much of life is like that.
Yes.
Um, so much of life involves loss and not knowing stuff and not being in control of stuff, which is why you need courage.
Yes.
I I like horror. Um, I don't like the abominable stuff that just puts up pain and especially violence against women as entertainment. And yet I
Yeah.
like the way horror will say the world is not the way you think it is. Evil is real, and you need redemption. Like the Ring
Yeah.
movies those are really old. Those are like 20 movies. Those movies are about atonement, like
Yeah.
getting away from this evil. But what I don't like is often in horror movies, it's just scream, scream, and run away from the evil thing out there. And that's not how a lot of life is. It's courage.
Yeah. I like that.
And
Yeah.
it's courage from the dragons. Thus, when I'm talking, you don't ever interrupt me. All right.
Actually, I do. This is one of the great things, friends, about Seed of Dragons and Coffee and Scotch is that I'm going to drink my coffee. He's going to ramble. And then at some point, I'm just going to interrupt him on purpose.
Because I talk too much. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go, Dust. Go. Talk. Oh, sorry, you have to drink. I'm so sorry.
This mug of mine is called Foul Behavior because it's just covered in weird birds. Like, for example, the blue-footed booby is a real bird. Carry on, Eric. He has
I'm
nothing to
so
say.
amazed I know. I'm so amazed I know that. Okay. I like Darkness and Courage from the Dragon's Lair because the best way to get at this is through symbols, thinking sideways,
Yeah.
where you write or read stories where reality is not obeying all the normal rules. It's not the only way to get at that. It's the best way to get at it.
Well, and the cool thing about a campfire is when you build a fire, you need spark, you need fuel, you need oxygen, right? So you need those three things to make a fire. And if you have them in the right proportions, you have a little spark and you have good dry fuel and you have some wind blowing on it. It goes from just being a pile of nothing to being something that gives light and warmth. And that's what we hope for anyway. I mean, so let's circle back to why we're doing this to begin with, which is just two friends who have had great
Dust, you have the soul.
conversations.
You have the soul of the you have the soul of a poet. You know that. Beautiful. All right. Sorry.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so it's really not Seed of Dragons is started with us, and like sort of fundamentally, it's us taking care of one another first, and then it's flowing out into we decided to throw this out into the internet and see if anyone else was into it. But it started with us just going, let's take care of each other, let's listen to each other, and let's talk about some of the stories that matter to us and why they matter. And that's
Yeah.
that's that combination of spark and fuel and oxygen that felt right for us. And so
Yeah.
we'd be doing this with or without anyone else for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I feel confident in that because we've been doing it already for over, I don't know how many years has it been, but we've been doing it for over a decade.
Yeah.
So that for me,
2 decades.
that's why Seed of Dragons matters. It matters first to us, and then it's something that we're giving away because we think it's helped us a little bit to have these conversations, and so we decided to open up the campfire a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh.
Connecting with people online is complicated. Before we recorded this, we were talking about some of the complications there, but we really, Dustin and I will talk about stuff we write and stuff we create, but this is not just about self-promotion. This is about
Yeah,
inviting people to the campfire.
exactly.
You listening
Yeah.
to this right now, you are more important than you know, and you are more interesting than you know. And it doesn't exist without you. So we're going to be trying to find ways to connect
It's so cool.
and
Yeah.
to invite people in.
Eric, as you were saying that, you got Gene Wolfe looking over your shoulder, and I know he would say the same thing. I really feel like you're more important than you know, and you're more interesting than you know. So let's have fun with the ride.
That is that is a great way to stop.
Perfect.